Salute, Knicks Nation. The streets are buzzing. The playoffs are here, and the matchup is set. The New York Knicks will be facing the Detroit Pistons. The third seed was clinched today, but we're going to talk about the game as the New York Knicks once again blew a big lead and failed to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers just once all season. And man, they are limping over the line with one more game against the Brooklyn Nets coming up, fam, on Sunday. Welcome in, guys. Salute to the chat. I see you. Salute replay squad. Talk about it. Give us your takes. And this one is the Knicks blew a 23-point lead to a Cleveland Cavaliers with no Spider, no Hunter, and no Ty Jerome. And the Knicks were without Karl Anthony Towns in this one, right? I got a lot to get off my chest, and smash that like button. We'll shout you guys out. Give us your thoughts in this one. But the bigger picture story is that the Knicks have clinched third seed now and will face Detroit Pistons with home court advantage. But the Knicks have bigger problems to address right now, man. Horrible coaching in this one once again, but the players played awful as well in the second half, right? Falling asleep, careless with the basketball, offensive systemic issues. Cameron Payne minutes were struggling again tonight, turning it over, sloppiness. Hart was hesitant, shooting open shots, and Precious Achiuwa minutes did hurt the Knicks as well, right? But man, the New York Knicks have got one more game, and then they'll have a week's rest to practice and iron out some wrinkles, man, because today the Knicks had a great first half. Now, it was a second night of a back-to-back, but guys that didn't play last night, OG, Mitch, they were solid tonight. Obviously, OG blew that layup late, but look, he blew a tire. He was under the rim. And the New York Knicks have to find ways to make things a lot easier for themselves, right? Defensively, we let Max Strauss get open on the switching, and Darius Garland took advantage of that one, right? And another day, another blunder, another missed assignment on the three-point line. I thought Mitch was solid in this one. I thought he's obviously going to be a big difference maker defensively for us. But tonight, I think our problems were offensively the most. Offensively, those minutes where they absolutely threw away a big lead, and it happened again in the third quarter. After halftime, the Knicks just can't play consistent four quarters, right? And I think that's on the system. I think that's on the coach. They've been the most inconsistent good team all season long in the NBA, right? From night to night, you just don't know what you're going to get. As the Bucks beat the Pistons, and we see Giannis clown Beasley as well, we're going to be looking towards doing that, hopefully. But with the seeding all set, ladies and gentlemen, get out your popcorn. Give us your takes in a potential Knicks, confirmed now, Knicks Pistons series, right? We don't know the dates of game one, but we'll probably find out very, 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 very soon. Buzzer beaters in the house. Connor T, AP, Elliot, what's up? Tendrell, let's get it. Daniel Berry, Elliot, Eddie in the building. Tony, salute. Mike, salute. J-Dub, salute. I think inconsistency, we've got guys out there that really shouldn't be playing as many minutes. And my hope is that, the rotation does get tightened. It has to. I thought Shamet should have played a bit more. Shamet was solid, 5 of 11 from downtown, finished in the plus. Deuce, 4 of 8 from the field, 3 of 5 from downtown. That was great. Plus 13. Deuce only played 17 minutes. I don't know why. Obviously, he needs to play more than that, man. He's plus 13, team best. Brunson was sloppy late as well, but they were swarming him. But too many minutes from Precious, too many minutes from Cam Payne, and we blew the lead. Bridges, minus 14, right? He's going to get some criticism. And Josh Hart, minus 16, right? 2/3 of the Villanova squad were combined, minus 30. Hart and Bridges. Let that sink in, fam. OG, quiet night offensively as well. He couldn't get into a rhythm, and we weren't getting him, good looks, in good positions, getting downhill, he was hesitant a little bit as well. You know, he should have taken it to the rack strong. Look, with no cat out there, you see differences in the floor spacing. I think that is, you know, a big factor in this one. What's going on, Buzzer? I think with this team, right, they're lacking some confidence, and I think it's starting to look shaky. Right, it's starting to look shaky. I'm not going to lie. A team normally mirrors their coach in terms of if they're under pressure, start to second guess things, second guess themselves. We're seeing a little bit of frustration, finger pointing at times, but here we are. Third seed's locked up now. Not ideal, close to the season, limping over the line. Let us know what you think the Knicks need to do. I think they've got to obviously tighten that rotation a little bit, right? I don't want to see campaign, right? I don't want to see campaign. I'm going to be honest. Obviously, Precious shouldn't play either in the first round. It should be Deuce. It should be Shamet, maybe DeLon Wright, and Mitchell Robinson coming off our bench. AP, what's good, says Leon's on the clock. We've got to wait to see what happens in the playoffs, but that could be well and truly happening. Eddie says Tibbs has to go, man. I agree, 100%. Tibbs, you know, the vibes of this team, it's crazy. You know, I've never felt this way where a third seed team has no vibes at all. Right? They've done whatever they can to just completely kill the vibe, and to be a third seed, players overplayed. Making bad decisions, coaching decisions, lineups, all of that. You know, Dardier can't get a shot. Colette can't get any minutes. Kevin McCullough can't see any minutes. DeLon Wright, I think, should be playing. Now, give us your thoughts on the Detroit series. J-Dub says the Knicks are in trouble, first round jeopardy. It's all going to rest on the first two games. You know, I said it last night, and I'm going to double down, fam. The first two games are critical for any confidence to go either way. If the Knicks lose one of the first two games, the confidence is going to go down even further. If they can pull out the first two games, then that'll push them along, I think, to win the series. But it's going to come down to the first two games. But we've got Brooklyn to close the season, right? Who knows who's going to play? I do think guys are probably going to rest. Probably OG. Maybe you rest Mitch. Maybe you play some of the bench guys that need some rhythm up. What do you guys think? Mike, agree with this one. Hart should have been benched for McBride down the stretch. Hart just wasn't at it tonight, man. He sat last night. It was inexcusable. Now, I know he knocked down a few threes, but he hesitated on so many. And like always, fam, we're good for a couple of shot clock violations. That makes me sick, the way our offense is run sometimes. Players just don't have a clue what they're doing at times, you know. And even they don't even get a shot up when the shot clock's going down, right? How can you not know if there's 3-4 seconds left? You know, somebody should be calling it out. J-Dub says they're just going to have to pull together offensively. They can't play consistent. It's been the issue all season, you know. Consistency for 4 quarters. We might have 1 good quarter, 2 good quarters, maybe 3. But also closing out the game is an issue, fam. What's going to happen when things get tight, you know? What's going to happen when they double Brunson and they get the ball out of his hands and it's like a hot potato and it's in Josh Hart's hands with the shot clock going down? That's my biggest frustration with this team right now, man. Look, you know, I'm not going to, revisit last year's teams too much, but we are missing a guy like a DiVincenzo who just doesn't hesitate. You know, deep 3-point shooting range. We're just not getting that from a Mikal Bridges. Right. Miles McBride, I think, is our best shot to be another offensive weapon. OG, obviously, but OG still, can struggle creating a shot in traffic, when he's getting fouled as well. We need that zone buster, that buster when the defense is collapsing, and just that guy that can rise up and shoot. Right now, Shamet's stepping up. So, I believe that he's earned more minutes. Deuce bounced back tonight. He had a better game. But Bridges right now, man, unless he gets to that mid-range spot or he's in the corner, then it's a tough situation right now, man. him and Hart, they're just too passive. They're just too passive right now. The Knicks have got the 3rd seed, C-Dub. It's confirmed now. So the Knicks aren't tanking nothing. The Knicks are not tanking. The Knicks got that 3rd seed now. It's set. Omar says, if y'all scared, go get a dog or go to church 10 toes down. Look, I like people still confident. I'm confident we'll beat Detroit. But, I'm looking at bigger fish, man. I want to beat these teams like Cleveland. I want to be confident. I want to be going in playing our best ball. Right now, things look a little disjointed. Now, obviously, last 2 games, the rotation's not going to be like this. They are going to switch things up a bit. Let us know. Campaign 0 of 5 tonight. No points, a donut. 1 turnover. No assists. No rebounds. Nothing from Campaign. 0 of 5, man. This is one of his worst performances on the season. Chris says Mitch was getting some rebounds anyway. We needed to hit shots, and Shamet was hot, but was on the bench again. Yeah, that was puzzling. I think Tibbs continues to go with the guys he trusts. It's always going to be Hart on the floor. It's going to be Bridges. He's going to go with the tried and tested. But those guys just have to step up. They are the leaders. Guys like Hart, Bridges, minus 30 combined was killing us in this one. But what's it going to take to get a win against one of these elite teams, right? No bueno against Boston, Cleveland now, and Oklahoma, fam. In 10 games combined, the Knicks could not pull out a single win. And they'll have to go back to the barrel, back to the drawing board, and gain some confidence now against the lower seed, against Detroit. But look, I like the way the Knicks started. The first quarter was amazing. The Knicks started 39-24 lead. At the end of the first, JB started hot. Cleveland just weren't tight defensively. The Knicks hit 7 of their first 10 threes, 68% from the field in the first quarter. Then they lost the second quarter, they lost the third quarter, and they lost the fourth quarter in points combined. So winning 1 quarter out of the 4 is not going to get it done. That ain't going to get it done. And I need the minutes cut from Precious, the minutes cut from Cameron Payne as well. Right? I don't think we can run a 9 or 10 man. I think it's going to be 8. And I think he has to go with Deuce. And he has to go with Shamet and maybe Mitch. Maybe DeLon Wright. I think for defense. Let us know what you think about that. Let's look at the team stats because, pleasing from Mitchell Robinson in terms of his impact offensively with the boards. The Knicks did lose the rebounding tonight though by 10. They dished 22 assists, only 8 turnovers, so they did take care of the basketball a lot more, but the shots didn't go down late. There was like a lid on the rim, especially OG blowing that layup as well. But the Knicks shot 39% from 3 and still couldn't get it done. Both teams shot 70 from the free throw. The Knicks got more second chance points, but lost the points in the paint, and the fast break points were even as well. So lots of things to iron out and work on. The Knicks just weren't getting enough stops to get out in transition. But when Brunson can get downhill, that's deadly, and we need to be in that situation, right? In the half court set, when the defense tightens up, that's when the things really get tight, and the Knicks have to find ways to execute better, right? OG did not have his best game again. We're going to need the shot making from OG, right? When they go zone, we're definitely going to need Bridges to play a lot better than he did tonight. 1 of 5 from downtown. Also, getting into the paint and finishing in traffic is not what Mikal Bridges can do, man. He doesn't like contact. He'll get to the paint and then he'll fade back. But credit to him, he dished 8 dimes as well. So he was the team leader in dimes. So Jalen Brunson has to do better at that. only 2 assists from the captain tonight. So that lets us know the struggles from our offense. CC, I see you in the comments as well. Says Cam doesn't draw and kick wisely. His shot selection is questionable. Yeah, I think that's a situation where it's really hurt the Knicks. Playmaking, you can make a point where DeLon Wright and Tyler, the creator, deserve an opportunity. I mean, the Knicks went from playing some of their best basketball with Brunson out. He comes back, and then, we lose the creation of Tyler, and we lose some steady play of DeLon Wright, and then Campaign hasn't been able to step up. Mike says, I hope that we run the 2 big lineup, Hart to the bench, and a couple of times in the playoffs. Yeah, after seeing last night's game against Detroit, obviously they've got Dura and they've got Beef Stew. But I don't know how many times Detroit are going to play those 2 bigs together, because, if one of them's in foul trouble, they don't have great depth, I think, at the big man situation. So I would like us to see some Mitch and Cat together. Maybe we get it for 10 to 15 minutes a game. I'll be surprised, though, if we see it more than that against Detroit, because I think they'll stagger their bigs. I think it'll be Tobias Harris playing the 4 situation. They do have good positional size, because they've got Cade at the 1, 6'6", and they've got the other guys as well. But yeah, I'm ready. Looks like the Pistons are ready. The fans are ready. It's going to be a great series. Credit to Detroit's ascendance. They've tripled their win total. It's going to be a nice challenge. I think everyone seems excited about the series from neutrals. You got NBA media hyping it up already. Obviously, the Pistons are some kind of Cinderella darling story from the NBA media, and they'll definitely be loving, or they are showing that they're excited about this series. I'm excited. I'm not scared. I'm just obviously concerned about the inconsistency of the team to close the season out. Brunson obviously missed a month. He's only really working his way back. Night to night, it's a referendum, man, on who steps up, who doesn't. We get a great game from Deuce, and then the next game is down. Mitch has been in and out due to minutes restrictions. There's a lot that the Knicks have to work on, and we will have time. We've got a practice kind of match, I guess, practice game against Brooklyn, and then a week to practice, study the tape, work on the film, look at the last night's film against Detroit. They had all their players, which is good. We didn't last night, so the Knicks can look at, what worked last night against Detroit and what didn't. And obviously we buried this one tonight, man, but our frustrations are there, as the Knicks were poised basically to win this game. And that's what's hurting the most, because, if the Knicks were down early and it was like one of those games where they just didn't have it going, you're like, okay, on to the next. But once again, it's a roller coaster where the Knicks dominated in the first quarter and look set to win finally against a team like Cleveland, 23 points up, and then they come crashing down to close the game, right? It's tough right now. This team needs some confidence, and I won't be surprised if Tibbs plays the guys against Brooklyn. What do you guys think? But my early projections for a Pistons Knicks series, right? I'm going to say there's a significant chance the series could be over in 5 if the Knicks can win the first 2. But I'll say, based on what I've seen throughout the regular season, I'll go safe and I'll say 6. My early prediction right now, I'll say Knicks in 6. Obviously, the series is going to kick off in about a week's time. And then, yeah, it's going to be money time, man. I'm excited. Cat was rested tonight. Detroit played most of their guys tonight against Milwaukee. And they've got one more game to play against Milwaukee as well, right, before the season is finally done and dusted and we look ahead to the postseason. Stefan says these Knicks wilt in the final minutes. It's all got to do with the defense tightening with the other team, and then our offensive system being read and react. Now a lot's been made about Tibbs and the read and react system. It ain't easy, man. Just asking players to read and make a react to it in real time is a lot more difficult. When things get tight, the pressure, the fatigue sets in. I would like us to run more plays, set plays. That way everybody knows what's happening. Everybody knows where to be. There's a reason why coaches run set plays. It doesn't always pay off. It doesn't always work. There's no guarantees in life. But if you run a set play, I think you give yourself a chance to execute better. Reading and reacting comes from IQ. It comes from a bit of luck, serendipity sometimes. Sometimes a smart defender on the other team blows up whatever's happening, and you have to react again to that. Our point guard play is going to be absolutely pivotal, on both sides. Cade on the other side, who's in career best form, most improved player candidate. He's got some advantages. He's got some size. He's got a 3-point stroke now. He's got other 3-point shooters around him. How the Knicks cover Cade is going to be, the biggest factor in the series, I feel, in terms of our side. Because defense, OG Anunoby probably can get that assignment. Mikal Bridges will get it at times out on the perimeters as well. I like our ability to control the paint with our two bigs as well. We do have another big Precious if we need. Huck Porty could be a factor later. We'll talk about Huck Porty because there were some updates yesterday where Huck Porty was on the court getting some reps up as well. So there could be a small chance Huck Porty is available later in the series, but right now we've got Tucker, we've got Precious as the backups, but I do expect Mitch to get serious minutes and Karl Anthony Towns, obviously depending on how he is playing, right? But the Bucks took care of the Pistons earlier today. Giannis, man, with a grown man's block on Malik Beasley, and we need to be playing lockdown defense like that, fam. And he was giving him the shimmy as well. I love Giannis, man. He doesn't take things too seriously. He's definitely a guy you have to respect. And it's going to be a tough series for Indiana, right? Now, this is the confirmation. For the East, it's a lock. Most teams still have a game to play, but every single position and matchup is now official. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got Cleveland. They'll do battle out of, obviously, the play-in winner. The Bulls will host the Heat, and the winner will play the loser of the Magic and the Hawks for that 8th and 7th spot. And then the Celtics will obviously play, the winner of the Magic Hawks. I do think the Magic will probably get that one done. So we're looking at a Celtics Magic matchup. Hey, Magic, they're young, they're physical. Hopefully they can make it a series, in terms of make it tough for the Celtics. Hopefully be physical, make them earn it. Obviously we think the Celtics are going to advance, but hopefully it's a physical series that can really hurt them in that one. And then the Knicks, the Detroit Pistons, and the Indiana Pacers versus the Bucks. That's a tough series. That could go either way, right? I could see the Bucks definitely getting the win over the Pacers. They'll have to win one of the first 2 games though on the road, because that one is going to be a tough situation, right? You need to protect home court when you're the upper seed, right? And that's exactly what the Knicks' MO should be. I think shut the door early, take away their confidence, and put the pressure back on the other team, right? A young, inexperienced Pistons too. Warren wants to coach clean out. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you on that, Warren. Late game execution has been a tough situation all season right now. And the defense, the physicality is going to go up, man. It's big boy time, man. Players got to put on their big boy pants and really step up, man. It's going to be physical. There's going to be mind games. There's going to be some scuffles. Everything we like about the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. It ain't for the faint of hearts right now. That's what we do this for, right? We got things buzzing, and we ain't ducking any smoke right now. We just have to stick true to what we do, what's worked this season. Play New York Knicks basketball, defend the 3-point line, anchor the paint, and I think Mitchell Robinson, right, is our big X factor, for my opinion, man. Because Karl Anthony Towns at the 5, it hasn't been successful all season, right? Mitchell Robinson's healthy at the right time. Let's look at Mitch tonight. He was 3 of 4 from the field, 7 rebounds, including 5 offensive, and the Knicks won the second chance points. He gave us 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block, +3 in a loss, and 8 points from Mitchell Robinson in his season high minutes, 32 tonight. So, yeah, big encouragement for Mitch to put up 32 minutes. Was in the plus, 8 points. I like the 5 offensive rebounds, the 2 steals, and the block from our guy, Mitchell Robinson, right? Everyone wants to see it. Double big lineups, fam. Hopefully we get it. CC says Bridges and GG are here for this moment going into the playoffs. Regular season is over. We're now 0-0. 100%. It's time. It's time to show up. And legacies are on the line, right? I got no issue saying that. Legacies in terms of playoff legacies. You're the upper seed. The pressure is there. The coach will come under fire if the Knicks can't prevail. We've got John talking about the Detroit Pistons chances. Cardiac salute. Good to see you in the building. Yeah, so the series is definitely going to be interesting. All right, I'm not taking the Pistons lightly. I'm not disrespectful right now. I think the Knicks should be confident. They are the upper seed. They have more experience. But having said that, it could be a level playing field in terms of, the Knicks' lack of execution late in, down the stretch. Guys that can't space the floor out with Hart, and guys needing to step up like McCall, Cat. Talk about a playoff legacy. Karl Anthony Towns. This series really should, rest with Karl Anthony Towns in terms of, Brunson and Cade. Their production could cancel each other out. And then, Karl Anthony Towns should and needs to be in the top 3 best players in the series. Right. You don't make that trade and you don't pay him 50, 60 million, to not help you win a series like this. So, yeah, I'm going to be really tough on Cat in this series because he needs to show up. He needs to show up, and he definitely needs to stay under control and execute. We need to get him better 3-point looks as well. That's going to be killed. That's going to be key. Gangstar says, let Tibbs go. Ray says, Cade loves playing the Knicks. Yeah, look, there was a lot of different circumstances going into the 4 regular season games, 3 or 4, I think it was. The Knicks were second of a back-to-back. One of them, the Knicks were missing some guys as well. But credit to Cade's ascendance. He's a real force. He's a player the Knicks have to pay attention to. But if Cade goes off and the Knicks can slow down everybody else, I think the Knicks will win the series, right? Also, let's see how the Pistons do on the road for him. Like, this ain't, if Detroit think that they're just going to walk into MSG in the first 2 playoff games on the road and it's going to be easy for them, then yeah, they got a surprise await. Regular season ball is different. You heard the legend Clyde talk about it in this one, fam. I mean, the Cavs were shook 2 years ago with JB Bickerstaff coming in. When MSG hits top decibel level, right, you ain't hearing yourself. You ain't hearing the teammates. You ain't hearing what's happening. It's a hostile environment, and we'll find out if the Pistons are ready. We'll find out if the Pistons are going to be ready for that, right? Now there could be tight games. It could come down the stretch, But yeah, executing with the crowd and all of that is going to be tough. But on the flip side, it will be tough for the Knicks as well. Detroit in this Little Caesars Arena, yeah, that's going to be a hostile environment as well. I expect Knicks fans to show out on the road like they did last season as well. So Pistons fans, get used to it. There will be a lot of tickets snapped up by New York Knicks fans. They'll have a strong presence in the building with the Knicks fans, especially in Detroit as well. But I'm seeing a lot of discourse over who is the best player in the series, right? Some national media people talking smack, in my opinion, already anointing Cade as the best player in the series, right? I think that's a step too far, right? We get the excitement, but are we just going to forget about the legacy that Jalen Brunson has cemented in the postseason so far, man? He's up there with Michael Jordan with stretch 8 games of 40 plus points in a playoff run, right? Him and Michael Jordan, man, are up there, and Brunson has a playoff legacy. Right now, Cade has no playoff legacy at all. He has nothing, right? He ain't played a single playoff game, right? We're talking crazy right now, fam. We're talking like a regular season stuff is the same as the playoffs, fam. It ain't. It ain't, and it's different. And at the same time, Cade has, had a great season, but Brunson has the points on the board already. Dear Russ, what's good says Cat has to step up big time. Yep, he most definitely does, man. Playoff legacies are on the line. James says Cat needs to stay off the floor and fighting for fouls and putting team at a disadvantage defensively. We need to see Mitch together with Cat. I don't know why Tibbs hasn't used that enough. Stefan says Cade, only one player anyway. Yep, that's a factor as well, right? How did Tobias Harris do against the Knicks last playoff series with Philly? Right, he crapped the bed in that one. Playoff Tobias is a different story as well. CC says we have performed well in hostile environments in the playoffs as well. Yeah, I think experience will definitely count. But if the Knicks give Detroit confidence, I've got no doubt they'll take that confidence and they'll obviously take that, going into games 3 and 4. And you don't want that if you're the Knicks, right? You want to take care of the first 2 games and you want to do it in convincing fashion, right? Now it ain't always easy. These first 2 games could be tight. You just got to handle that business and put the pressure back on Detroit. Much like the Knicks lost the series against Miami 2 years ago, and they lost the series against Indiana last year, they gave up home court. You have to take the home court situation by the balls. That's why you fight for the 82 games. That's Tibbs ammo. If you are going to fight all 82 and play a small rotation and play guys heavy minutes, you do that for the upper seed, and you got to take advantage of that one. What's good? Michael Drake says, CC, I don't feel good. Tibbs' days are numbered. We're going to have some confidence, man. I think the Knicks should take care of business in the first round. But the second round, man, I obviously don't have confidence that the Knicks can beat beat Cleveland or Boston in the second round, right? But we have to take care of business in the first round before we even get to that situation, right? And my biggest worry is just the inconsistency, Players go hot, they go cold like nobody's business on this team, right? Right. Who here can say what kind of Hart we're gonna see, right? It's up and down, man. Tonight Hart was disgraceful, in my opinion. Too passive, right? Hurting the offense. Campaign was disgraceful. Precious Achua was bad as well. Precious Achua was great last night, and then he's bad tonight. Like, how long can we sustain that? Right, we've got key players that we're relying on. Some games they're good, The next games they go back to a to a pumpkin. Man, I need us to reward the guys that are consistent. Right now, Landry Shamet is playing consistent basketball. He deserves minutes. Deuce McBride and Mitchell Robinson and maybe DeLon Wright. Outside of that, man, I don't want Precious in the rotation, and I don't want to see Campaign in the playoff rotation either. Mello, what's good? Says, listen, as long as Tibbs is here, we ain't going nowhere. We need a coach that can play chess, not checkers. Yeah, I feel you on that. I feel you. I'm sick of the inconsistency of this team. We are the softest third seed I've seen in my days. Right, and I'm not really just talking about the 0-10 record against Oklahoma, Cleveland, and Boston. Really, I don't care about that as much because we're going to face those guys later. But we have been inconsistent against subpar opponents. We shouldn't be. Ray says the Pistons are young and physical. Knicks will expend a lot of energy in the first round. It's the playoffs, man. Yeah, you're not wrong. It's going to be physical no matter what, man. I don't expect Detroit. I don't expect Boston. I don't expect Boston to get out unscathed against the Orlando team. As I bring this up once again, man, we're finally excited. We're talking about the playoff matchups out east. I haven't even peeped out west, so we'll look at that in a minute. But yeah, the Celtics Magic. I think that could be a physical series for the Celtics. They'll obviously win, but the Pistons, the Magic can make that one physical. The Pacers Bucks, that one could go 7. I think the Knicks Pacers series will go 6. I think the Pistons can definitely win 2 games. They've got the talent. And then look, who knows about 1-8? We've seen Cleveland get to the big stage and look stage fright. Look starstruck right now, man. Cleveland are very hot and cold in terms of they love their 3-point shot. You can live and die by that. Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen, they can look like a deer in the headlights. I think when the lights are bright, fam. And look, it's a different situation coming in as an underdog. You got no pressure. You're playing with house money. If you are the Bulls or the Heat, and you face the Hawks, predictably the Hawks are going to have to face the Bulls or the Heat, the winner out of that one, to face Cleveland. I could see the Hawks giving Cleveland a series. I could see the Bulls taking it to the Cavaliers as well. They've got a young backcourt with Giddey and Colby White. They've got size with Buzelis and Dalen Terry. They've got wings. They've got size. They've got wings. I do think the Bulls will beat the Heat. They beat them the other night. I think they've got their number, fam. So I do think that's going to be the Bulls to face the Hawks for that 8th spot. I do think the Magic will defeat the Hawks. Knicks and Lakers in the final, says Deras. Salute to that. I would like that. I would like the Knicks Oklahoma, fam. I would love that. Michael says CT Tibbs don't change that 8-man, same old plays. Tibbs does. I would love us to get an offensive coordinator, fam. Even if Tibbs sticks around next season. But if he survives by the skin of his neck for next season, whatever happens in the playoffs, if he comes back, we have to bring in an offensive coordinator, man. No stubbornness. If Leon doesn't put his foot down and say, Tibbs, right, you're going to stay, but offensive coordinator, no ifs and buts about it, right? Because our offense stinks, right? We had the NBA's best offense in November, which was very early in the season. After that, we've got found out right now, and other teams adjusted. So Tibbs has to get an offensive coordinator at the very least. Otherwise, see you later. See you later right now. Because the Knicks are just super predictable. Pound the rock into the ground. You got guys that are non-spacers passing the ball up. It's a tough situation. What's good? What's good? Apologies, everyone. I hit the back button by mistake, but we're still here, man. I ain't ducking. Uh, hopefully, y'all got me back. I see you in the chat. As I was saying, man, yeah, I think offensively, the Knicks, I think, might be their biggest issue right now, and that's definitely a concern because the Knicks haven't played great defense consistently, but things changed when Mitchell Robinson returned. You know, it did give the Knicks a different look and stabilized their defense. But offensively, Brunson's missed a month, and there's been a lot of things that the Knicks need to, to iron out now. Loading up these comments. Nick in the building says Detroit is not at full strength. Jaden Ivey is out for months. That's a good point. That's a good point. I completely forgot about Jaden Ivey, although he's not going to be playing this postseason. He's definitely going to be a player that's going to help Detroit for next season. David M says not very optimistic right now. CT, this is a game we should have won. I feel you on that. The Knicks should have won. We give up leads. I think we get a little bit careless with the basketball. One thing that I've noticed a lot is the outlet pass, the cross court passes. The Knicks have really thrown in some risky passes, and they result in turnovers, and it's really hurt. The Knicks in that situation. Giving up the basketball when you shouldn't. You have to take care of every single possession in the playoffs. Carlos says the 8-man rotation isn't going to work. Why no Kolek or DeLon Wright? I agree, man. I would prefer Kolek over. Well, I'll prefer Kolek or Wright over Cam. And definitely cut Precious out of that rotation, fam. And look, we might fatigue as the season goes along. Series goes along, like Nick says. I think if OG has to play 45 minutes, 42 minutes, we better win the first 2 games, because I think after the series goes on, fatigue is going to creep in, possibly an injury. So yeah, nothing's going to change my mind. My key to the series is the Knicks winning the first 2 games, right? For every reason. For confidence, obviously the odds are massively in your favor, statistically, analytically, if you win the first 2 games, and then you put the pressure back on an inexperienced Pistons team, right? But again, not taking Pistons lightly, this is where legacies are made. Maybe this is a legacy where Cade Cunningham says, I'm here now. And the Knicks have to defend him to win that series, right? Make somebody else beat you. I think that will be their plan. They must guard the 3-point line. They have to definitely make sure that they rebound and don't give Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren paint touches or rebounds. And then let Tobias Harris, I think, get shots up. Let Timmy Hardaway. Let those guys beat the Knicks, right? I think that will be playing into the Knicks' favor. On the other side, we need to take care of the ball, get Karl Anthony Towns real floor spacing touches, I think, at the top of the key. Maybe foul trouble is going to play a part. Last night, it was really eye-opening where Cade got in foul trouble and Cat got in foul trouble as well. So maybe they are, going to call it physical. Maybe they're going to let the swallow the whistle. I think we'll see how that plays out. G Money says Pistons don't have Marcus Sasser as well. Look, respect to Marcus Sasser, but he's definitely not a player that's going to swing a series. We could talk about the Knicks missing some guys. We could talk about Pistons missing a few guys. It's going to come down to the starting five for both teams. Whoever wins the series, the starting five will be outplaying the other team's starting five. Yeah, the bench. The bench is a part of the series. Bench production is important, but ultimately, I don't think that's going to swing a series. I think it's going to come down to, who steps up with the starting five. The Knicks paid all that money. They made moves. They'll be obviously really eagerly anticipating who steps up in regards to Cat Bridges with potential moves on the horizon. Kevin Durant available in the summer is a definite possibility. The Knicks will be looking at what works, who steps up. I don't agree with the narrative that this Knicks team is locked in. They will make changes if this falls flat and it doesn't advance. The Knicks didn't make all those moves to just, say, all right, we're going to ride this out, and waste time. No, they made these moves so that they can hopefully move closer to winning. And if this season proves that this team can't win, either the coach will go or some players will go, and there'll be some changes coming. But it all depends on how it plays out. Michael says the Knicks need to change lineups. Tibbs won't add these bench pieces. Yeah, I think next year Kolek will be a bigger factor. But in terms of Delon Wright, I think his experience, needs to play right now. David says, agree. We have to take the first two games and try to take it out quick. Yeah, 100%. Just act like the bigger team, the bigger brother on the block. The Knicks finished third. The Pistons finished sixth for a reason, right? Not saying we can't see upsets, because we have, but at the end of the day, the percentages favor the higher seed, for the most part. The Knicks are a 50-win team. The Detroit Pistons are not. Pistons finish with 44 wins. They probably win their final game against the Bucks, or they might sit everybody. Who knows what's going to happen? In fact, now that the seeding's guaranteed, nobody should be playing anybody. The Bucks should be playing all their G League guys, and the Pistons should be playing all their G League guys. There's absolutely no reason for either of those teams to play anybody, because they can't gain anything. The Pistons are locked in for the Knicks. The Bucks are locked in for the Pacers. They will be hoping to avoid injuries right now, and I think the Knicks should do the same. Fam, the Nets are tanking anyway. The Nets are in 12th behind the Raptors. They'll be hoping for ping pong balls. The Knicks could play Kevin McCullough and have a chance to win the game. Right? The Knicks don't need to risk any injuries. The seeding is confirmed. G Money agrees with Michael on that one. The Knicks must win the first two. Anthony says, I don't feel comfortable with Tibbs coach and the team and all the Knicks fans, 65 years of old pain. I don't think I'll live long enough to see your next championship. That's a shame. I think, who knows what's going to happen around the league, man. The Knicks in the East, it's wide open over, I'm going to say, the next 3 years, 5 years, Celtics are going to have to make some changes, because financially they are paying a high salary to too many guys. They're going to have to let either Kristaps, Al Horford, or Drew Holiday get go, and then things can open up. If the Knicks get Kevin Durant and the Celtics trade somebody, you just don't know. Cleveland, I'm not completely sold that they can do this every year for 5 years running. There's always, hangovers. There's maybe a an injury. There is things that change as well. They are going to be around, but I think this is the closest that the Knicks are going to get. They need to, in terms of their window opening up in the next 5 years, they have to take advantage. Right, they've traded those draft picks, right? So for better or for worse now, they are all in, and they need to, retool, at the end of this season if it doesn't work out. But they have to stay in ready mode, ready win now mode to contend, because they don't have these draft picks at the moment unless they trade a few players to get some of their picks back. Now I think tomorrow the league has a rest, and then Sunday the final games conclude the regular season on the final day. Man, every team plays. It's crazy. But the Knicks Nets early matinee, man, the game is 3 a.m. my time. I'll maybe wake up for the second half, and then we'll be doing our post game live. I think we'll be doing a guest. We'll be having a guest on the end of the Nets Knicks game, but it will be a little bit later in the evening. I won't be on right after the tip. Right after the buzzer. But yeah, we'll be having a guest on, and we'll be talking about the playoffs, right, with the season over in this one. But yeah, man, tonight, 23-point lead got blown once again. These Knicks, they've been inconsistent all season. They've been frustrating. There's been moments of amazement. There's been moments where they got hot when they won 9 games in a row. I thought there would be more streaks, if I'm being honest. I'm not saying we were going to have multiple 9-game streaks, but I thought we'd maybe have a lot more 6 to 7 game winning streaks. But unfortunately, JB got injured. Mitch didn't get back until a lot later than people thought. Mitch didn't get back until what, March, was it? Late February, early March. But look, the good thing is Mitch is available now. He's been impactful, and 32 minutes tonight. He looked good against Cleveland. But the guards let the Knicks down tonight, right? From Hart, from Bridges, from Brunson, from Campaign. The Knicks guard have to step up. And obviously no Karl Anthony Towns. But this is our perfect opportunity to get the feel-good vibe, to get the confidence. No Ty Jerome, no DeAndre, and no Spider, and no Bueno as well. It was embarrassing, man. I have to admit. It is embarrassing that the Knicks couldn't finally get one over Cleveland, all the season smack that we've had to deal with. And, we have finally a great chance to get the win over them with no Spider and no Hunter. And the Knicks had a 23-point lead at MSG, but their minds were just elsewhere right now. And hopefully we don't see this once again at all this season. But yeah, Thibodeau, he's under pressure, man. He's definitely going to be under pressure. Michael says the Knicks must change their lineups and the plays in the first round playoffs. Look, yeah, last night I think the Knicks managed the game a lot better than they did tonight. I think last night was more of a late collapse, whereas tonight was like from the third quarter. The Knicks took their foot off the gas. But yeah, against Detroit, I think it's going to be key to shoot well from the three. Cat has to stretch Isaiah Stewart out and Jalen Duren and open the 3-point lane. Maybe Tibbs has saved some of these things, saved some plays and for that first round. I'm hoping. I don't know for sure, but the Knicks must have something else up their sleeve, right? It can't be this predictable. Shez V, what's good? Salute, good to see you, fam. Michael says, I wonder what Billy D thinks about this season. CT. Going to talk to Bill D during the playoffs, but yeah, his thoughts were pretty clear at the start of the season on the roster as well. He had his concerns over size, toughness, and I think that's what the Knicks have missed. But yeah, now's the big stage. Guys have to step up. Doesn't matter how the regular season went. Legacies can be made. Legends can be made in the playoffs, and players have to step up on both teams, right? The pressure is going to be there for both teams. And, I know that the Pistons will be playing with house money. They've got the NBA neutrals on their side. They've got the Knicks haters on their side as well. And they're going to be the NBA darlings of that series, right? And the Knicks just have to come correct in the first 2 games and shut them out. Otherwise, get prepared for a dogfight in that one. So yeah, that is it. We're going to wrap this baby up, right? We'll be back for the Brooklyn game on Sunday. Like I said, post-game, we'll be having a guest. We'll be talking to them about the playoff matchups, the series ahead, as the Knicks and Pistons do battle right now. The Knicks will get plenty of rest and plenty of time to think about what they have to execute better at. There's practice, there's time to rest. Brunson's fresh, he missed a month. OG should be fresh. Guys got to find their games, man, at the right time of the season. I expect the Knicks to rest a lot of guys against Brooklyn. Like I said, there's no need to be playing your main rotation. Maybe they'll sit some guys in the second half. Maybe they'll play them a little bit in the first half just to get them going. And then, a week is a long time to not play a game. So maybe they will play some of the guys in the first half and then bring on hopefully some of the G League guys in this one. But this one's a wrap as the Knicks lose 102-108 at MSG, a late collapse once again. And the Knicks have to find their rhythm heading in to what's going to be a challenging first round series. I predict 6. I think it could be 5 if the Knicks can win the first 2 and get some confidence in Detroit, take one of those games. It'll be done early, but the Pistons have had success over the Knicks this season, right? Regular season, for various reasons. The playoffs are going to be different, but we'll see how it all plays out. Guys, appreciate you once again. Great to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Smash that like button. The Knicks streets are buzzing, and this is what we do this for, fam. 3v6 as well. Knicks versus Pistons, inexperienced team. Let's see what they got. Guys, I'll see you on Sunday. Peace.